Coming at you from the Hey Yo Studios. It's the Fade Route with D and Z. Here are your hosts, D and Z.
Coming at you live from Ayo Studio.
Hey Yo.
It's the Fade Route with D and Z. I am D. We've got a great show for you tonight. The Vegas Golden Knights win the Stanley Cup. Man City wins the Champions League. And Z and I are going to order up the top 5 shortstops in Major League Baseball. But we start off today with the NBA Finals. We both had this one, as the Denver Nuggets earned the Larry O'Brien Trophy in their first in team's history after beating the Miami Heat 94-89, cooling those Heat in 5 games. When it was all said and done, the Joker took home the Finals MVP after dominating the series. Jamal Murray is on record saying this is the first of many titles for the Nuggets. Are you with Murray on this one, Z?
Well, first off, congrats to the Denver Nuggets. And they took it to the Miami Heat, and they ran through the Miami Heat. You know, we questioned the depth of Miami. We questioned the star power of Miami and whether or not they'd be able to hang with Denver. And emphatically, the answer was no. Emphatically, the answer was no. As far as Jamal Murray goes, right, is this a budding dynasty? The potential is there, right? You have, realistically, you can go 5 deep in your rotation. Your starting 5 is very good. Between Jokic, Murray, KCP, Porter Jr. when he's on. Aaron Gordon didn't even have a good game, but he is a perennial problem just due to his size and strength. But moving forward, they're going to be one of many, right? The West is loading up. You have Phoenix, right? Golden State is a question mark. We don't know what they're going to do. Are they going to make another run at it? Are they going to try and fortify on the fly? Are they going to tear it all down? We don't know. Portland. What is Portland? Is Damian Lillard going to be there? And if Damian Lillard is going to be there, are they going to invest in pieces around him? Sacramento. Is Sacramento an aberration, a one-year wonder, or are they here to stay? The Lakers. What are they going to do? Because the window is closing on LeBron James. Right? Anthony Davis is who Anthony Davis is, and you have some okay pieces around James and Davis, but like they need some other guys. They need an injection. Dallas, no, just no. One guy sunk that team. That's all you need to know about Dallas. But then you look at the East, right? Like, it's very feasible that Denver can bubble back up and make it out of that West. The only real threat there is Phoenix. But then again, that's another team that's in flux, right? DeAndre Ayton, is he going to be there? Chris Paul, is he going to be there? Are you going to have more than just Booker and Durant? And then if you do, like, what's on the bench? Because their depth was paper thin. Move over to the East. What's Giannis going to do, right? What's going to happen with Milwaukee? Are they going to get James Harden to commit to Philly, or is he gone? Like, what is the situation going to be like in Philly? How are the Knicks going to get better? How are the Cavs going to get better? Like, I'm not sold on a dynasty, but they will be perennial contenders for the foreseeable future. Now, I do think that, Bruce Brown is a good bench player, solid bench player for them. Christian Brown, where did he come from? Right? That was a revelation.
By the way, he won 3 high school championships. He just won the NCAA championship, and now he's got an NBA championship.
Not bad, right? Not bad for Christian Brown. You know, that's still only 7 guys. If you are going to extend the life of this thing to where it is a dynasty, you're going to need to lengthen this team a little bit, right? If you remember, like the San Antonio, you had key bench players, right? You had your Bruce Bowens, you had your Robert Ory's, you had Sean Elliott, you had guys that were able to rotate in off the bench, and you need at least 8 guys. You need probably one more really solid player to keep this going, just so you don't have a situation where these guys are just playing so many games and they're spread so thin. But talent-wise, they can compete with anybody. But in this topsy-turvy nature of the NBA, one of many. They could very easily be one of many.
Yeah, well, first off, I want to say big win for me. I correctly picked the order of the wins in the series. So that was plus 1,900. Thanks, FanDuel. Jamal Murray was plus 18,000 to be the series leader in assists. Congrats to whoever cashed in on that one. Yeah, so my answer to the question is maybe. Game 5 was close because they got into foul trouble. That is, the Nuggets got into foul trouble. And the Suns beat them twice. I think there's a way to beat this team. I'm not sold on Mike Malone as being a great coach. I think there's going to need to be some adjustments if they're going to run this back. And like I said, Phoenix clipped them twice, and they weren't really playing together for a long time. You talk about the East factor. Is he at the end of the day? This was a 1 playing an 8. I don't really know. They didn't play like a 76ers team. They didn't play a Celtics team. They didn't play a healthy Giannis team. So my answer is I don't know. It's definitely possible. Think they have to get better shooters. They missed a lot of threes. The thing that they had going for them is they were just bigger. They were just bigger than the Heat. All their guys were bigger than the Heat. The Heat didn't have an answer for Jokic. They didn't have an answer for Gordon. And they were getting all the offensive rebounds. And let's just face it, the Heat had a lot of guys that didn't even get drafted. Guys that were just free agents that signed there, and they played well. I'm not taking this away from the Nuggets. Congrats to them. But it's hard. It's so hard to win multiple championships. We take things for granted. We've lived in a lifetime with Bird, Magic, LeBron, Jordan. You take these things for granted. They have two really good players. Right? They have 2 really good players.
Very good players.
Today's NBA, you kind of need 3, right? I mean, you need 3. So they only got 2. So yeah, and my short answer is maybe. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm not saying hell no. I'm saying it's maybe.
Yeah, I mean, who is the best and most likely challenger for this team in the West? Right now it's hard to say Phoenix. There's only 2 guys on that team.
Well, Z, let's be real. I mean, there's going to be a very geographical change that goes on within the next couple of months. I believe the NBA draft is tomorrow, or maybe it's next week.
Next week.
It's a week. It's a week from tomorrow, right?
Yes.
So there's gonna be a lot of players that are changing teams. Yeah, I would think that Lillard's gonna go somewhere. We don't know where James Harden's gonna go. Chet Holmgren's supposed to be coming back. This guy Wembanyama is gonna be playing. You think Baccaro is gonna is going to take a step in the right direction. What's going to happen with Zion? Is he going to play? Is he going to get traded? There's a lot of things we don't know. So to say who their challenger is going to be, I mean, geez, I'd like to think that if the Celtics get Damian Lillard, that's a big difference. I would think that the 76ers, if they were to get Dame Lillard, that's a difference. I got to think the Hawks are going to be better. I got to wonder if Kyrie's going to go to LA and play with LeBron. Is LeBron going to go to Dallas? Is Anthony Davis going to go somewhere? It's just a lot of things that are in flux. So I think they will have challengers. They're not. I would be very surprised if they opened as the odds favorite for next year, right? I don't think that's on the table. So when you talk about odds, it's up. We're in a like you said, we're in a flux now. We're in a time where we don't know. Like, I think 5 years ago, you knew LeBron was going to get to the NBA Finals. You just didn't know if he was going to win it, right?
Right.
I think 20 years ago. It's like 20 years ago, we knew Michael Jordan was going to go to the NBA Finals, and most of us thought he was going to win it. So we're not in those times. Let's say if we were, we were 23 years ago. I'm sorry, so 30 years ago for Mike. But if it was 23 years ago, we would think it was going to be the Lakers, right? They got Shaq, they got Kobe, right? I mean, so I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's hard to say with some of these teams because a team like the Hawks, for example, right? You think that they're going to be better, but then you also hear in the same breath that they're shopping DeJounte Murray. Like, that's already,
huh?
That experiment seems to have already.
That's wild.
Sailed.
He's
that
really
ship
good.
has sailed.
He's good.
But, I mean, if you're tied to Trae Young, as the Hawks are, you're not necessarily. I mean, you're looking for a Robin, and DeJounte Murray might not be the Robin for his Batman.
So there you go, Boston. Give him a call.
Huh?
Dallas, give him a call. Knicks, give him a call.
I would do that before I would do. Bradley Beal.
Lakers, give him a call.
Bradley Beal's also available. So the Wizards are trying to make that work.
I'm not really sold on that guy. I think his best years are behind him.
For all the grill masters, green thumbers, home repair heroes, and DIY aficionados in the Richmond, Virginia area, if you're looking for a personal service, quality products, and a convenient shopping experience, look no further than Thacker Ace Hardware in Colonial Heights, Virginia. Owner Don Rackley and his team of local experts have everything you need to tackle all of your home projects. I'm talking paints by Benjamin Moore and Clark in Kensington, power tools by Craftsman and Milwaukee, electrical, plumbing, hardware, and let's not miss the grills. Weber, Big Green Egg, Traeger, Blackstone, top shelf, amazing. And for all you green thumbers, their nursery department is fantastic. Give them a call today, 804-766-4223, or stop by 27 Dunlop Village in Colonial Heights. That's 804-766-4223, or swing by 27 Dunlop Village in Colonial Heights. Thacker Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
From one championship to another, as the Vegas Golden Knights knocked off the Florida Panthers to take home their first Stanley Cup, this caps the rise of a franchise that's only 6 years old. Will we ever see another run like this again?
Well, but let's think about it. At the beginning of the run, right, the NHL strategically altered the way that they did the draft, right? They altered how they did the expansion draft so that Vegas can come out swinging. Now, did anybody ever expect Stanley Cup final in their first season? No. Like that, they definitely outkicked their coverage there with former Ranger coach Gerard Gallant. But
and they got to two. This was their second, and this was their second Stanley Cup.
Yeah,
and the people in Toronto are fucking pissed.
2 in 6 years, and Toronto can't get out of the second round.
How about the Buffalo Sabres haven't even made the playoffs in 12 years?
Traded their best player to the Vegas Golden Knights because he refused to go back to the team. So what does that tell you about the Buffalo Sabres? But it was set up. Yeah, like it was the perfect storm. Like, fuck you, I want to go to Vegas. Make that happen. But it was the perfect storm at the perfect time. Juxtapose this with the Seattle Kraken, who are not building with superstars, right? They seem to be developing, more of a team in the truest sense of the word, right? When you had the Vegas Golden Knights, star. Remember, they had Max Pacioretty at one point. Max Pacioretty is no longer with the team. But you had plenty of guys who have come through that door and have left just as quickly. And that's also including coaches. Like, they're on Bruce Cassidy now, but they're on their third head coach already in 6 years.
Wild.
Yeah, it was absolutely set up for this kind of dominance. And, kudos to the Golden Knights for taking advantage of the situation and taking advantage of the rules put in front of them, because they were they were given a lot of great talent, and they were able to draft accordingly. They made smart trades. Now they kind of skirted around the cap. They're kind of in Tampa Bay Lightning territory in terms of cap circumvention, but you still had to go out there and win it on the ice. And boy, did they.
Yeah.
Mark Stone, the first hat trick since 1922. That's impressive. That's an impressive playoff hat trick. It's a great statistic. You're looking at, Amadio, Barbashev. They had...
The game was over in the second quarter.
No, it was done.
Second period, the game. People were taking pictures. People were all jumping around. I mean, the shit was over. I mean,
it was over when they announced that Matthew Tkachuk couldn't play because he had a broken sternum. That guy was the emotional leader of the team.
This guy had to have someone drive him to the stadium. Had to have two people help him get dressed. And this motherfucker played. Like, he played a couple of shifts. And he didn't play last night, but he played with a broken sternum. Let me ask you a question, Z. Is there an injury that someone doesn't play with in hockey? Because we've seen people play with broken foots. We've seen people play with high ankle sprains. We've seen people play with cuts above their eye. So I'm guessing, a concussion is the only thing that keeps somebody off the ice, and that's only if you kind of report it?
It's a concussion now, right? Concussions now. Most guys would play through it back in the day. But, you got to figure, well, even cracked ribs, you're going to play. You just you put a flak jacket on, but
And the kills me is that the reason they're playing is because I don't want to let my teammate down. Is that unbelievable?
It is.
You got players in basketball that just decide to take the night off. You got Giancarlo Stanton that can't stay on a baseball field, and you got this guy can't even drive to the stadium, can't get dressed on his own, and he's like, I don't want to let my teammates down.
Wow. Hockey players are a different animal, man. You know this. They're absolutely different animals. But you know what? That game was over. And that series was over. Florida, we were concerned about them matching firepower with the Vegas
Again, Z, it's a 1 and an 8. It's a 1 and an 8. You're only gonna get so far as an 8 seed. And I mean that in regards to competing. Not how far you're going to get in terms of games. It's the competition level. At some point, your guile, your tenacity, your grit, your work ethic, everything that you got going for you can only take you so far. At some point, you're going to need the star. At some point, you're going to need the talent. And as an 8 seed, you didn't have it. You didn't have it all year. And you're not going to have it right now. And And especially you're going up against, gosh, you just named all those guys. These guys are ready to win a title, and you are standing in their way.
I call bullshit on that. Here's why I call bullshit on that. If it was just based on talent, then Austin Matthews would have 2, Connor McDavid would have 3.
No, that's not
It's not all about talent.
I'm not saying it's all about talent. What I'm trying to say is, when you're an 8 seed or 7 seed or a very high seed, the way you play can only take you so far. And at some point, you need the star, or you need the elite player or the elite play to get you over the hump. Look at Florida. Look at how many close games they won. Look at how many games they won in overtime. Look at how many times they won by 1 goal. You can only do that for so long, Z. At some point, you've got to put it to the other team. You got to hang 9 on somebody. You got to hang 5 on. You got to get somebody else to stop you from scoring 9. You got to get somebody else to stop you from scoring 5. And when you're an 8 seed, you do not have that at the end of the road. It's been since the end of April they've been playing this in the playoffs. You've been playing outstanding hockey for over a month. At some point, it catches up to you, especially when you're facing a 1 seed on the other side. Now you're facing a 5 seed on the other side, a 6 seed on the other side. Oh yeah, you got a shot. Maybe if you're facing one of those top 3 or top 4 teams that are hungry and that have, like you said, a Matthews or have a Marchand at the end of the road, come on, it's not going to happen. How many times has it happened? I don't even know. How many times has an 8 seed knocked off a 1 seed in a championship?
None that I can recall.
I don't know. I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm saying at some point you have to kick it into a different gear, and just it doesn't. In hockey, it's tough. I mean, actually, in hockey, I could say there's a chance because you can get the hot goalie. Because if I'm right, the goalie that started the playoffs for the Knights was not the guy who finished. Right. Yeah. So
Aiden Hill replaced the starting goaltender so like about halfway through the playoffs. So Aiden Hill opened up a lot of eyes, and he made himself a lot of money. Is for sure.
I mean, this was the most goals in a Stanley Cup final since the 1991 Pittsburgh Penguins. And I actually think, I'd have to look it up, I think this was the most goals in a 5-game series. I mean, they crushed them, man. It wasn't, you look at how many goals were scored, it wasn't close. Let's put it this way. If this was a football game, the score would have been 63-21. Come on, it's, and nothing taken away from Florida. Good for them. I mean, they got there. You got to, last year should have been their year. But
last year wasn't the thing with they were missing last year was what Tkachuk brought to the table. Now you have a compromised Matthew Tkachuk, and that takes everything away from you.
Agreed. I think they would have got one more game if he was healthy. I do. I don't think they would have gotten 2 more games. They got one more game.
Well, bottom line is they were outclassed, and it boils down to the goalie.
The goalie!
You cannot let in 8. And the fact that Paul Maurice did not take Bobrovsky out, that is wild to me. You have an opportunity here. I get that. You call timeout. Take the goalie out. Do something.
Because he did take him out in game 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
maybe he did it right. Maybe he felt the writing was on the wall. Maybe he also felt like, I lost my best player, Like, I can't stop you guys. Like, maybe that's what he felt like, And he's like, well, we're gonna go down with our best guy. He's our best guy. I'm gonna let him ride this out. Who knows if he'll ever get back to one of these? Maybe that's the way he felt.
They went down. they certainly went down.
Avoid messy accidents. Get better stopping power with your brake pads. Callahan brake pads. You never know when you'll be driving in the road and there will be a truck tire that you need to avoid and save your family. Callahan Auto. We really care about what's under your hood.
But you know who didn't go down as yet another championship was crowned this past weekend? Manchester City. They didn't go down. They took home the UEFA Champions League, beating Inter Milan 1-0 in Istanbul. Rodri fired home the lone goal of the match in the 68th minute, while Ederson made several key stops to preserve the victory. Now, City detractors point to the seemingly endless supply of oil money funding the club. City detractors make that read Manchester United fans. So, this oil money, right, this reason, this excuse, allows City to have the best of everything, right? They have potentially Ballon d'Or winner Erling Haaland, Jack Grealish, Kevin De Bruyne, the list goes on and on. Is this a fair or foul statement?
Yeah, I think it's fair. Oh, by the way, the goal by, was it Rodri?
Rodri.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. What a goal. And I'm an Inter fan. But man, what a goal. Yeah, I think it's fair. It is what it is. They've got the money. They've got the power. They have the best equipment. They get the best players. Can't argue that. I think it's a fair statement. I think it's fair, but it was a good game. I mean, they contended, they challenged them, and would, like you said, their goalie made unbelievable stops in this game. Unbelievable. It could have easily been 2-1 Inter, and I don't know how he got to some of those balls, and. You tip your hat to them. You tip your hat to them. I don't think it's a reason. I don't think you could use that as a reason why you didn't win or cry. You don't cry about it. You just stating the facts. I mean, I think you remember me growing up. I was anti-Yankee because they were spending all the money and nobody else was spending that money. And I was like, it's just not fair. It's not fair. And I used to say it all the time, and it's just stats. It's just look at their payroll, and then halfway through the season, they go and they fuck players from teams with expiring contracts. They go get guys that people can't afford to pay anymore, don't want to pay anymore. I'm like, come on, man. It's like you guys just went and got Cecil Fielder. You guys just went and got Jose Canseco. You guys just bought Alex Rodriguez. You guys just bought Roger Clemens. Like, you used to get frustrated with it. But then what happens? You run into a 2001 Diamondbacks team. That was awesome. You run into a 2003 Florida Marlins team. Even better. So sometimes, that's what makes those things so much sweeter when it happens. When you wind up losing to teams that don't have your payroll, teams that didn't get the best players, and teams outsmart you on the field, Yeah.
Personally, I think it's a foul statement. I think it's sour grapes.
Okay.
I think it's sour grapes by teams that don't scout well.
Okay.
Right? Look at Chelsea. Chelsea has spent close to $800 million on their team, and they finished in 11th.
Yikes.
Right, 10th or 11th in the Premier League.
Sounds like the Mets.
It's fucking awful, right? So, Tottenham. Look at Tottenham. They're about to... 12th. Excuse me. Chelsea finished in 12th.
Thanks, stat boy.
I was a little too generous. Like, Tottenham completely fell apart. Right? Brought in Richarlison. You had Son. You have all this amassed talent, but at the end of the day, you have to. It's scouting and building a team that will mesh. Now, say what you will about City, say what you will about their owner, but they're not just buying players for the sake of buying players. They're actually putting together complementary players, right? The missing piece was Haaland. Essentially, they brought back the same team, except they added Erling Haaland. And Erling Haaland just goes and destroys the Premier League. Like, he made the Premier League his bitch. It's amazing. So, to have over 50 goals in a full year, like, that's impressive. So
absolutely.
You know, but they're playing within the rules. There's no salary cap.
Right.
You know, their scouting department is putting together this team, right? You have Gundogan, Grealish, De Bruyne, Silva, Rodri, Stones, Ruben Diaz. I didn't even mention Julian Alvarez, who won a little thing we like to call the World Cup for Argentina. Right? He's coming off the bench. Right? They're ridiculously stacked. Now, they are about to lose some guys. Like Riyad Mahrez, he's most likely gone. Like Gundogan, he's got an offer on the table. We'll see what happens there. Bernardo Silva might be gone. That team is in flux, but I trust that City is going to. They've been doing their homework. They've been scouting, and they're going to keep going with this. And it just feels like sour grapes. Now, you're 100% right. That Rodri goal was amazing.
Amazing.
Like, it's like it was like a spotlight, and then like the perfect, like the seas parted, and it was just like my eyes lit up, and I was just watching. Like, I got, you know how you know we've all had that moment where we're at the plate and the ball looks like, right, it's like the size of a beach ball.
Yeah.
Like, that must have been that's what that moment was for Rodri. Like, that ball must have looked so huge, and he buried it. He absolutely buried it. And kudos to Inter. Like, they played a hard game. They did.
They had more shots. They had more shots on target. They just ran out of time. They went
in with a game plan to neutralize Erling Haaland. Mission accomplished. Like, they did. Like, Erling Haaland was a non-factor in this game. He was completely a non-factor, but it took that unsung hero, because Rodri's a midfielder. He doesn't score. Like, that's not really his job.
No.
But he capitalized on the moment. And, they'll be back next year. Well, we'll see how long Pep Guardiola is going to be there, because he said he wants to leave in 2025. He's done this before. He's definitely done this before. But if you leave it, he's going to leave enough there. The cupboard won't be bare. They'll be good after he goes. I definitely think they'll be fine.
If you want to get in on the action, we want to hear from you. Hit us up, faderoutemail@gmail.com. Slide in our DMs on IG @FadeRoutePodcast. Drop us a DM on Twitter @FadeRouteDNZ. Comment on our YouTube channel, The Fade Route with DNZ. Questions, comments, picks, segment suggestions, you name it, we want to hear from you. Get at us, in crowd.
Speaking of a team that's just now starting to be fine, don't look now.
I'm not looking.
The Oakland A's are surging.
Who?
The Oakland A's.
Is there still a team in Oakland?
Not the Las Vegas A's. Although Las Vegas did approve the stadium, so that is probably coming. But
it's always coming.
The Oakland A's have won 7 in a row. 7 in a row.
That's called a winning streak, by the way.
It has happened before. They're now taking on MLB's best, the Tampa Bay Rays, at home in the Coliseum. Now, A's fans have showed up and have showed out. They're staging a reverse boycott of John Fisher. Last night, 27,000, almost 28,000 fans showed up to the Coliseum. boycotting John Fisher and his attempt to relocate the team to Las Vegas. So does supporting the team by coming to the ballpark prove their point?
Not at this point. This is 5 years too late. And don't get me wrong, Zeke, 29,000 fans, it sounds like a Tuesday in the Bronx. So, no, I'm not. He doesn't care. You think he cares? You think he's like, oh man, a lot of people showed up. You know what? Let's stay in this stadium that's falling apart, that the city refuses to fund, and a climate that's built around basketball instead of baseball. No. Especially you see what the Golden Knights just did. You see how badly the NFL wants to get a team into Vegas. No, it doesn't do anything. It's a wasted time. It's time. It's just time. And I don't feel bad for the city of Oakland. I don't feel bad. They got a dynasty literally across the street. They've enjoyed championships. They've enjoyed wins. And let's be real, that community needs more help than a baseball team and a baseball stadium. You know, people are living on the streets over there. They're having a real homeless problem. Like, baseball is the last thing that should be on the mind of the people that live in that county.
It's a weird idea, right? We're gonna show you.
We'll show you.
We'll show you. Like, I hope nobody bought food.
Yeah,
right?
I was just about to say the same thing. I hope you didn't pay for parking.
You paid for parking. Like, you bought tickets. Like, you handed out the only thing that they did themselves was they had merch made. So they had green T-shirts in that Oakland A's green with yellow across the chest that said "sell." Right. So I'm just making sure I understand this. Maybe I'm off base here. I'm gonna protest this guy by putting money in his pocket. Essentially, that's what they did.
Brilliant.
They bought the tickets. They paid the parking. I'm sure they bought hot dogs and beer. They had to have because they pelted the field with garbage after the game. So, like, I don't understand. Like, if you're gonna do that, like, there has to be a better way. There has to be a smarter way to go about proving your point. Now, clearly, having nobody go wasn't the answer. Having everybody going isn't the answer.
Mm-hmm.
It's an untenable situation. It's an absolutely untenable situation. And the owner of the team is going to do what he likes. He's not going to dip into his pocket and build a new stadium. And Major League Baseball is not helping them with that. And the city of Oakland is not helping him with that.
Yeah, I would say that the way to get, if you wanted them to stay, you go petition your local congressman, or you go petition the local government to say you want to help fund a stadium. You want to pay for a new stadium. That's how you get them to stay, not going to the game and doing, I don't know what you're doing. I'm sure their owner was like, oh, this is great.
It's like, if you guys did this every day, if you did this every home game
for the next 5 years, or the last 5 years,
I wouldn't be considering it. Now, they did gut the team. They did. You know, Matt Olson is gone. Matt Chapman is gone. Murphy is gone. It's well documented how this owner has gone out of his way to, strip away the payroll.
Yeah,
to
he's lining it up.
profit.
He's lining it up. He's maximizing his profit. I mean, the Braves do this every year. Whatever, it works. Well, it's going to pay off big time for him.
It will eventually. I mean, it pays off for him now, right? Because he's also getting chunked the revenue sharing. So,
cha-ching.
Right. Now, when he gets to Vegas, he cannot put this team out on the field.
And he won't. I don't think he will.
No.
He'll have so much money coming in. And they're going to have a lot of fans. People go to the games in Vegas.
Yeah. It's much... It's very similar to the Miami Marlins. When they moved into the new ballpark, they brought in Burley, they brought in Jose Reyes, they brought in Ozzie Guillen, and nothing really changed. Nothing really changed. Now, the one thing about Vegas is that, you know, as much as it's a very touristy town, so you are gonna have to, like, you're gonna have to Golden Knights this. You're gonna have to figure out a way to kind of goose this up, and you're gonna have to, you know, make it happen. He's gonna have to dip into his pockets because
he's gonna get money. He's gonna have a whole influx of money from selling suites to advertisements to I believe the stadium is gonna be like on the strip. It's gonna be like right in front of the MGM Grand, I'm pretty sure.
It's the old Tropicana.
Yeah, he's gonna be fine. Just fine money-wise.
He's gonna be fine. The problem is that they need to come out swinging, because if they don't come out swinging, people are going to lose interest and they're going to move on to the next thing. That's where the NHL got it right.
Gee, I wonder, you think he could get a guy like Ohtani?
Well, not for the 2 more years that he's going to be in Oakland. Like, there's a period, you know, in between now and when that ballpark is going to be ready. Yeah. So that's the other thing. Like, this is going to get worse before it gets better.
So he's got to tee it up a little bit better.
Yeah, they definitely, like, you know, Fujinami is probably going to get moved. Laureano's going to get moved. Like, they got to hit on prospects. They got to hit on some guys. They really need to make something happen here.
And they're usually good at farming guys.
Well, I mean, when Billy Beane was running the show, now Billy Beane is a higher up. He's not making the moves. So it's definitely something. I think
the philosophy is still the same, though.
The philosophy is the same. Like, the problem is the Rays do it so much better than the A's ever did.
The problem is they still lose.
Right. There's the
to win the World Series in 2031. So you see, sabermetrics, it works.
It only took 30 years and a move to Las Vegas.
You can't help but smile when you see a balloon. The simplest occasion is a party. Westchester Pop Stars, located in New Rochelle, New York, offers balloon styling and decor for all life's events. Birthdays, anniversaries, weddings, showers, school and corporate events, store openings, or just because. Westchester Pop Stars takes balloons and shapes them into works of art, creating decorative installations for your special occasions. No event is too big or too small, and their custom personalization service is top-notch. Westchester Pop Stars is a private studio, quickly expanding. In-person consultation is by appointment only. Send an email to westchesterpopstars@gmail.com for more information or to schedule an appointment. No need to hire an event stylist. All you need is balloons. Currently servicing Westchester, Putnam, New York City, and Connecticut. To find Westchester Pop Stars, search for them on Instagram, Facebook, or Google.
Speaking of moves, in NFL news, mandatory minicamps are starting to open up around the league. And one player that will be notably missing from Giants minicamp is running back Saquon Barkley. The Giants and their star running back have until July 17th to work out a deal, as Saquon has yet to sign the franchise tag the Giants placed on. The idea of Saquon sitting out the season, right? That was floated about. Will a deal get done, or will Saquon sit out the season?
I don't think he's going to sit out. I think he's going to have to sign that franchise tag. But he has to take the temperature of the room. Because, Z, let me tell you something. It's June 14th, and Dalvin Cook Ezekiel Elliott, Kareem Hunt, Leonard Fournette, Myles Gaskin, Darrell Williams, Kenyon Drake, and Melvin Gordon are all free agents. And everyone except for Gordon's in their 20s. What leg does he have to stand on? Can I interest you in a Dalvin Cook? Could I interest you in a Kareem Hunt? Could I interest you in a Zeke Elliott? All of which, I'm sorry, they've done more the last 5 years than this guy, in my opinion. So, I don't know. I've seen him talk about it. He seems very chesty about how he can't play under this franchise tag. The window for running backs is very small. There's always another running back. Are you really trying to pull this card, bro? Like, really? After the way you played the last 2 years? I don't think he has a leg to stand on. What do you think?
At this point, none of them have a leg to stand on because the value of a running back position is not valued the way that they think they think it is. Look at Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt's value went up as part of a tandem with Nick Chubb.
Yep.
Right? Zeke is older. Like Tony Pollard clearly took that job.
Zeke has 2 rushing titles, by the way. Just to put that out there. Yes, I'm just saying Saquon has none. He's got none.
Saquon has none. Absolutely, he does not. Now, the reason why the franchise tag works in this case is that it's the average of the top 5 at your position. And that's why the Giants put it on him rather than paying out the nose, right? Because it was either him or Daniel Jones.
Right.
Now, 1 year at the average of the top 5 at quarterback, right? You're looking at 52, 50, 40. Yeah, no, Daniel Jones is going to get 40 anyway. So, like, if you're going to build around, if you're going to make one of these guys the centerpiece of your franchise, and you think it's the quarterback, then you had to pay the quarterback. Right? As far as I'm concerned, they're both question marks, but it makes more sense financially to do what the Giants did. Now, he may not agree, and frankly, that's fine, but he's still, for his career, he only is averaging 4.5 yards per attempt, right? He's only played 60 games. He's missed quite a bit of time. He had 10 touchdowns last year, 29 for his career. So the production's been decent, right? Not number 2 overall pick good.
No. Now,
part of that is injury. And then the other part is that the Giants were fucking terrible. It's a little from column A, a little from column B.
Franchise tag would pay him $10 million.
Franchise tag is going to pay him, it's going to pay him a fine amount for a year, right? You rebuild your value, they tag you again, you go from there, right? Kirk Cousins, how many times did Kirk Cousins get tagged?
3 or 4 times, right?
3 or 4 times.
And then it led to a fully guaranteed contract with Minnesota that Minnesota regrets every day.
Right. But the NFL would never, no one would do that. No. Absolutely not. Now, the Dalvin Cook thing, like I heard that the Giants would try and kind of gauge Cook's interest in order to see maybe you force Saquon's hand by bringing in Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook ain't coming in for $5 million. He's not. He's on record saying he's not coming in for $5 million. And do I really want Dalvin Cook, who gets injured as frequently as Saquon does? Mm-hmm. It's a lot of nagging nonsense injuries with Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, but Z, the difference here, right, for Dalvin Cook is he is a free agent, and he doesn't have a lot of choices, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. So when he comes in, he may come in for $5 million, but I'm sure there'll be incentives, right? And for him, it's a showcase year. It's like, look, I can still play. look what I could do. And he will be highly motivated to stay healthy, and he could do everything that Saquon can do.
I mean, he can be as motivated as he wants to be to stay healthy. He's not going to. Like, Dalvin Cook is injury prone. Plain and simple. Like, he gets hurt. It's what he does. Now, Zeke, age is working against him. Like, if he's going into a situation, he's going into it knowing that he's going to be a handcuff for somebody, or he's going to be in a timeshare. Like, these are different situations than Saquon Barkley. Like, Saquon, you think he's just about entering his prime, and he ran like he was entering the prime. Like, he was running last year, and he was playing like he was ready to go. Now, sitting out the season is not happening. Who was the last guy to sit out a season? Le'Veon Bell. We both agreed that was a stupid move. And then, of course, who goes and signs him after he sits out for a year? The team that majors in stupid. They majored in stupid. So I think the teams around the league realize that we're not making that same mistake. So it wouldn't benefit either side it wouldn't benefit anybody for Saquon to sit out this year. So you come in. Now, when you come in is the question, right? Do you possibly let this linger? Let the Giants twist in the wind, like week 2, week 3, and then they'll back up the brakes for you. Like, strategically, like, you run the risk of alienating the fan base, but at the same time, it proves your worth. So it's interesting to see how much hardball these guys want to play. Because if they do want to play hardball, like, if you can stomach it, go for it. But the franchise tag is going to be the easiest way to get this job done, because the negotiations are going to be even more contentious, and it's not going to end well for Saquon or the Giants the longer this goes. You're just going to poison that well. Step outside of your safe area and make a statement without saying much with FCK Clout Lifestyle Apparel. Embrace the colorful chaos and stay emotionally regulated in their hoodies, snapbacks, graphic tees, accessories, and more. Season 3 merch is up now. Get it while you can. Go to fckclout.com and get all of your needs from men and women. That's fckclout.com.
The wheel route.
All right, boys and girls, it is back. It is time for the wheel route. We spin a wheel, and whatever topic it lands on is what we discuss. Are you ready, D?
Ready.
All right, let's do this. All right, here we go. Peter Laviolette was hired as the head coach of the New York Rangers. Is this the guy that will take the blue shirts over the top?
I like it. I actually wanted to run through a wall when they got him. I like the guy. However, the issue I have with the Rangers right now is they got a lot of big names, and I don't think they have a lot of heart. They're missing that Zook. They're missing that heart player who goes out there every night and just makes the right play. And they're missing that guy. And that's what I think is missing from this team. I do like the hire, like the direction, just like the last coach. I had no problem with Gallant. I had no problem with him. So I have no problem with this guy. He's a bit of a douche, but I like the direction they're going here.
Well, from the X's and O's standpoint, Peter Laviolette is going to prove to be a better head coach than Gerard Gallant. Peter Laviolette will make the in-game adjustment. Gerard Gallant did not. He would constantly rotate his lines, but did not make any additional adjustment. And you're right. There is an element of grit, toughness, tenacity that was missing from this team. Jacob Trouba can't do it for everybody. Mm-hmm. And they definitely relied heavily, again, on skill. You bring in Tarasenko, you bring in Patrick Kane, albeit a compromised Patrick Kane, to go with Artemi Panarin, to go with Zibanejad. And Kreider disappeared at the end of the series. So it needs to come down to a system. You need to build the system, build the culture. There's a lot of things that are going to happen this year. It's a make or break for Lafreniere. It's a make or break for Capo Caco. Filipino needs to keep going. He was fantastic. He needs to keep progressing. Keandre Miller needs to develop into a top flight defenseman. It's a make or break for several of the young Rangers. At this point, the vets are who they are. Peter Laviolette has gone into locker rooms before, and he's gotten veteran buy-in. So this is something that is not foreign to him, right? He did it in Nashville. He did it in Philly. He did it in Washington. He did it in Carolina. This is what he does. So it's as good a move as any. Tweaks need to be made to the roster. Right? They need the mix of grit and skill. It needs to be both. It can't be one or the other. It's gotta be both. Here we go. Number two. With his French Open win, has Novak Djokovic cemented himself as the greatest men's tennis player ever?
I mean, it's hard to argue. It's hard to argue against it, right? I think he has something like 94 career titles. Mm-hmm. He's 1,058 and 210. He's done everything there is to do. So, yeah, I think he is the best of our time. I think he's better than Federer. I haven't seen anybody give him a hard time. Yeah, I'm with it.
I mean, it's between Djokovic and Nadal, right?
Yeah.
Federer, he has 20. He has 20. He's okay. He's okay. Now, if you look at it, right, Federer, with the exception of the French Open, he only had one French Open. So it was very evenly distributed among the other Grand Slams, right? He had 6 Australians, 8 Wimbledons, 5 U.S. Opens. Djokovic has 10 Australians, right? Even if you take away those 10 Australians, he has 13 Grand Slam events. That's pretty darn good. Now, contrast that with Rafael Nadal's dominance at Roland Garros. Right? He has 14 career French Open wins. You take away those 14 French Open wins, he only has 8 career in the other Grand Slam events. So, Joker definitely has the edge in terms of overall performance, but this is a very loaded list, right? Because then you're talking about guys like Pete Sampras, you're talking about Bjorn Borg, Rod Laver, Andre Agassi, Jimmy Connors, Yvonne Lendl. You have like these guys got lapped by Djokovic, Nadal, and Federer. Now Laver's kind of the exception to the rule because he turned pro and they banned him from events. Because at the time, tennis was reserved for amateurs. So who knows what that number would have been if they let Rod Laver play. Now, unfortunately, I never had the pleasure of seeing Rod Laver play, but I've seen Djokovic play, and he's a douchebag. Like I think we can all agree that he's a douchebag, based on just the way he treats people, the way he has
his smug attitude.
Yes, he has this sense of entitlement about him. Like he thought that the state of New York, he thought the United States of America was going to kowtow to him because he wanted to come play in the U.S. Open. No, that's not how this works. So he's a Hall of Fame asshole, but he is also very talented. Now, greatest of all time, he's in the conversation. He's in the conversation. But Nadal is up there, Federer's up there, and really to each your own, right? It's a question of taste. Now, growing up in the mid-90s, Sampras was my guy. Sampras and Agassi. Like those were the guys that you were following. Those are the guys that you wanted to emulate. So those guys hold a special place in my heart anyway. But if we're just talking straight numbers and straight dominance, he's still going. Like Djokovic didn't retire. Like he's still going after this event. And I'm sure there will be more to come. Stanford's Quinn Matthews, 156 pitch complete game against Texas. Gutsy effort or stupid?
I think it's gutsy. I don't have a problem with it. I mean, baseball is so fluky. Like you don't know if you're ever going to make it to the big leagues. You don't know if you're ever going to make it on a team. You don't know. I say enjoy every moment you can. You play baseball because you love it. If he wanted to stay in, he wanted to compete, help his team win a college World Series, have at it, Haas. Happy for the kid.
Now, I think it's stupid on the part of the manager, right? Who knows how long it's going to take for this kid to recover? And you're in the College World Series. You qualify. You're in. Right? Have you just ruined your own chances at winning the College World Series because you went balls to the wall to get there? That remains to be seen. But 156 pitches, that is something of a bygone era, correct? Like you're thinking about it from like a Warren Spahn, an Al Leiter. Like those guys would routinely and think nothing of it. Like, Al Leiter was just getting warmed up at 150 pitches. But for your Al Leiters and your Warren Spahns, you have Kerry Wood. And that is what gives you pause. Because Kerry Wood was abused in high school. His arm was abused.
Yeah, but you're not trying to say because of what he did in high school is why his career faltered in pros. You're not making that connection, are you?
I'm saying that he was already damaged goods by the time he got to the bigs.
Oh, come on.
We've seen it.
Didn't he strike out like 20 people in a Major League Baseball game, something crazy like that?
And then he was done the next week.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, his arm, you only have so many bullets. And to waste it now is silly.
I think it
speaks to coaching, and specifically the inability to think about big picture.
I think some people got it and some people don't. I mean, look at David Wells, man. That That guy could just pitch. He can just pitch. He can get drunk the night before and go out there and pitch. What was the thing I sent you recently with Nolan Ryan? 41 starts and pitched 332 innings in 1974. Jacob deGrom and Chris Sale have combined for just 362 innings since 2020. Like, it's just, some people just can pitch. Look at Bumgarner. Look at the World Series run he had, where he was coming out of the bullpen, he's starting games. Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling, same thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But look at Madison Bumgarner now. He's out of baseball at 33.
Okay, yeah.
It's one of those things that.
But are we attributing that to what happened in high school? Or are we attributing that to what happened in college? Or are we attributing that to what happened in the majors?
In his case, he did it in the majors. Some guys don't make it.
I think a lot of it has to go into how you take care of your body and how you have to, over time, change the way you pitch. Like, yeah, I think some players can pitch the way they did at 19, the same way they pitched at 34. Like Roger Clemens, Greg Maddux, those guys. But then there are other guys that have to learn how to pitch differently. El Duque did that. Verlander did that. You got guys like DeGrom that think they can throw 100 miles per hour for 3 or 4 straight innings. Dude, that's not real. You've been in the league for over 13 years. You can't just do that. I think a lot of it has to do with how you change. Like, as a pitcher, you have to graduate over time and realize there are things you can do and there are things you can't do anymore. And if you try to keep playing, being the player you were at 19, when you're 27, 28, nah, man, it ain't gonna work. You gotta figure out how different ways to get people out. You know, so I don't attribute it to that. I mean, yes, in some cases, sure, absolutely, but I think everybody's different. Every case is different, and I'm not gonna, this kid may never have this kind of stage again, and you're not gonna take that away from him, especially if everybody's on board with it. His parents are on board with it. He's on board with it. I'm on board with it. Let's go. You don't want to do it? I'm not gonna force you to.
Are you in need of air care maintenance or service? I have the company for you. Air Care Technicians. They service the Westchester and Northern Bronx area and can help you with all your heating and cooling, maintenance, and service needs. Just give them a call at 914-315-1547. Again, that's 914-315-1547. Or shoot them an email at aircaretechnicians@gmail.com. These guys are the real deal, as they are veteran-owned, licensed, and insured. Make sure to tell them that D&Z sent you.
The Fade Store presents the Alleged Superstar of the Week Award.
All right, boys and girls, you know what time it is. It's time for the Alleged Superstar of the Week. You know how it goes. We put up a poll on our Twitter account at FadeRouteDNZ, and you vote. And you vote, and you vote, and you vote. And the winner of said vote gets a shout out on this year's show and the coveted Ash Trophy. Do you know who took home the coveted Ash Trophy last week, D?
I don't.
Jay Monahan and the PGA.
He's actually really sick right now. I think he's in the hospital.
He took a leave of absence.
Is it because he knew he was going to win this award today?
I think so. I think so. I think he knew it was coming, so he had to get out of Dodge. But you know what? That was last week. This is this week. Who are your nominees for Alleged Superstar of the Week, D?
Oh, Z. I got a couple of your Mets on here this week. Don't think I don't know you didn't want to talk about them on the show today. So first up, we've got your boy Max Scherzer. Last night pitching against the Yankees. I don't think he realizes that the New York Yankees are a division rival. We're not a division rival. They're a hometown rival of the New York Yankees. We got 3.1 innings pitched, 7 hits, 6 earned runs, 2 Ks, and 2 home runs. Thanks, Max. We'll take it from here. Max Scherzer, you are my alleged superstar of the week. Number 2, your shortstop, Francisco Lindor. All right, Frenchie, we got bases loaded, 1 out. You're up against Claim Holmes. Go get him. And he strikes out. Oh, man. Bases loaded. Score is 7-6, bottom of the 8th, and you can't get a pop fly to the outfield, man, against Clay Holmes. Again, what a waste. Francisco Lindor, you are my alleged superstar of the week. And the last one, I've got the 29,000 A's fans that showed up last night. I don't know what you guys were trying to stage, but you were too late. Enjoy the dubs across the street while you can. Sorry, I'm not sorry. A's fans at the game last night, you are my alleged superstars of the week. What do you got, Z?
Good choices. I mean, the Mets are what the Mets are.
Oh, okay. Leave that for next week.
So
is that ship sinking? Is it on fire? What's going on with that ship?
it was built on starting pitching, and the starting pitching is not delivered. That is the key. Now, the offense is pressing as well. Not having Pete Alonso definitely hurts. Jeff McNeil is doing his darndest. Like, Marte is up and down this year. He's not having the year that he had last year.
Marte has 8 extra base hits all season.
Exactly. Now, Lindor is delivering the power. The power is there. Average is not.
Was
Nimmo's
it
doing what he,
216?
it was at 212 last time I checked.
Brilliant.
But Nimmo's having a decent year.
Except for that fly ball. What the hell happened there?
Got lost in the lights. It happens.
Oh, shit.
So the bullpen is atrocious. So
This dude comes in from the bullpen.
10
Doesn't
games.
even wait. This dude, I think Drew Smith or something.
Drew Smith.
He
that's
comes
the one.
in from the bullpen. We get to throw a pitch, gets thrown out of the game, and give it a 10-game span. What the fuck, dude? What the hell? Functional was like, what the hell just happened? I don't know. And then he shakes hands with everybody on his team before he goes to the dugout. Why would you do that? Why would you wipe it on their hands?
It worked for Joe Musgrove.
Oh,
It worked for Greasy Joe.
Greasy
So why?
Joe.
It worked for Greasy Joe. So why not? But the Mets are a little fish in this.
They're a little something.
Yeah. I'm starting with Conor McGregor.
Oh,
You
God.
can't-
That's right.
How do you? It's ripped from the files of it's still real to me, damn it. Conor McGregor KO'd the Heat mascot. For real. One work punch, and then he finished him. Sent the guy to the hospital. What the fuck, Conor? Are you back on the sauce? You back on the yayo? What happened? It was supposed to be a show. It was just supposed to be a show.
Let him up. Let him up.
Let him up. He's not Jose Aldo. It's not Nate Diaz. Let him up. Conor McGregor, you are my alleged superstar of the week. The Rock. His terrible, horrible, no good, very bad week. He's out of Black Adam, right? The sequels are drying up. Young Rock got canceled. He lost $60 million on the XFL. He might need to go wrestle Roman Reigns at next year's WrestleMania. Dude is hemorrhaging money right now. Rock, you are my alleged superstar of the week. And last but not least, Toronto Raptors for hiring the assistant coach of the Memphis Grizzlies to fill your vacant head coaching position. You really think that putting this guy in charge of your team is a hot idea. For one, who knows who he is? That's for one. Number two, this guy couldn't rein in John Morant. Do you really think he's got, what it takes to be head coaching material? I'm not so sure. But you appear to be in a rebuild, so maybe that's exactly what you need. A nobody head coach. Toronto Raptors, you are my alleged superstar of the week. I think we've made our peace. We've made our cases. Go to our Twitter account at FadeRobDNZ and vote, and vote, and vote, and vote. And for our nominees.
Just do better, boys. Just do better. Do you love brownies? Of course you love brownies. But you know what's better than a brownie? A delicious, handcrafted, gourmet brownie delivered right to your doorstep. That's what our guys at Sweet Life Brownie Co. offer. Chef Tommy D and the crew offer a dozen delicious delights that you will crave, from the classic OB to Dutch apple to campfire s'mores and many more. Check out their website, sweetlifebrownieco.com, for their Friday brownie drops. At noon, their site goes live and you see what they're making. Since you're there, become a site member and earn points. You earn 50 points just by signing up. Make sure you follow them on Instagram and Facebook too, at sweetlifebrownie_co, for the latest updates and their latest releases and creations. That's sweetlifebrownieco.com. Give them a call, 845-641-3043, and tell them D&Z sent you. That's sweetlifebrownieco.com, 845-641-3043. Sweet Life Brownie Co., because there's always room for a brownie. Order up!
We continue with our position by position breakdown of Major League Baseball. We are now at shortstop. It is time for us to order up.
Order up, order up.
The top 5 shortstops in Major League Baseball from 5 to 1. Who you got, D?
All right, so I wrote this down, and then I had to rewrite it because the more I looked at it, I was like, wow, I really jacked this up. So this is what I got. At number 5, I got Dansby Swanson. It's not just because he's a former Brave. He's an elite defender, doesn't miss games, and he walks a lot. He's on my fantasy team. I like him. Number 4 is Xander Bogaerts. Now, listen, I don't have anything to back this up. He's actually having a down year, but he's actually, in my opinion, he's a very good hitter. He's an outstanding fielder. If I was starting a team, I would not have a problem for him being my shortstop. Number 3 is an easy one for me. It's Trey Turner, and he probably would be higher on this list if he was having a better year, but the guy could run, he could slide, he could hit. He's just, every year he's just one of the best hitters in the league in all of baseball, not just in shortstops. So I got Trey Turner at 3. Number 2, I got Wander Franco. 3.7 WAR, 827 OPS, 292 batting average, amazing fielder, young guy. I think his future is extremely bright with whatever team he plays for. And number 1 surprised me. It's Corey Seager. Corey Seager is the best shortstop in baseball. He's a power hitter, 1.044 OPS, 357 batting average, 2.1 WAR, World Series MVP, 3-time All-Star, and LCS MVP. I don't think it gets much better than Corey Seager. What do you got, Z? I know you're gonna have Lindor. I know you can have Lindor on your list.
You're actually not gonna have Lindor on this list because he's having a down year. But show me a shortstop who's having a good year. There's two.
Correa.
Franco, 217, 9 homers.
He's awful. No, he's awful.
Yeah.
That was a joke.
No, I know it was, but no, the joke is the offensive production from shortstop.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Trey Turner's hitting 240 something on the season.
Crazy.
So, Ahmed Rosario's hitting 230. It's very difficult to find Mr. Bichette, right? He was supposed to be one of the next ones. But instead, he's just a guy. Brandon Crawford's hitting 205. So it's very difficult to go out there and say with a degree of certainty that, yes, this is, that this is going to be a quality player, which is why it's not that unreasonable for Lindor to be on this list. He at least has double-digit home runs. He can hang his hat on something. But, I mean, in terms of complete package, I'm going to go with Trey Turner at 5. Mm-hmm. The batting average isn't there. He's got 11 steals, 7 homers. It's been a rough adjustment to Philly. But the track record is there that he'll adjust and he'll do what he needs to do. Number 4, I'm going to go with Xander Bogaerts. Right. Xander Bogaerts having a solid year. 259, 7, 23 ribbies, 6 steals. OPS 741. It's okay. It's not the best, but it gets the job done. And in a down year, you can shine like that. Number 3, I'm going to go with your boy Swanson, Mallory Pugh's husband. He's not wilting under the contract like you thought he might.
Yeah.
But he is, he's solid. He's not a superstar. He's not overly spectacular, but
Dude plays every day.
He's a total package. He'll give you a full and complete performance. 257, 6 homers, 742 OPS, 27 ribbies, almost a 3 WAR. He's bringing some veteran presence to a young team, and he's kind of guiding them through the wilderness. Number 2 is Wander Franco. 292, 827 OPS, 32 ribbies, 22 steals. Plays really good defense, a little too much of the hot dog, right? He's got a lot of mustard on that hot dog. But when you're that talented, it's not surprising that you're going to do that. And number 1, by far, this year, is Corey Seager. He's living up to his contract. He's living up to what the Rangers thought he was going to do when they got him from the Dodgers. 357, 835 ribbies, 1,044 OPS. He's slugging 629. What more can you say? It's such a level between Seager and Franco. Just from 1 to 2, there's a precipitous drop, and then from 2 to everybody else, it is catastrophic. So, shortstops in general, you got to pick up your play here. You have to pick up your play because this is kind of embarrassing. It's kind of embarrassing that Trey Turner, with as down of a year as he's having, is able to crack this top 5. But kudos to Corey Seager and Wander Franco. They are the shining lights among the dreck that is shortstop in Major League Baseball.
This has been the Fade Route with D&Z. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Catch our podcast on Wednesday night on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. So until next time, stay faded, everyone.
Time for us to run the Go Wrap, but we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks for listening to this episode of our podcast. If you like what you heard and want to hear more, be sure to like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Rate us 5 stars, leave us a review, turn on subscription notifications, and tell your friends. Spread the word, spread it wide.